this register was set up for a reason. These people are put on the register for life for a reason. Why should they have the opportunity to come off that register?
Because it is the law. Parliament decided this in 2012 for a very, very good reason indeed. And that is, this is not a punishment. It's all about protection of the individual. Now, it is for the offender to prove to the police that they are no longer a risk. And it's quite a high wall that they have to climb, because everyone has to be consulted. They've got to show they lived a good life. Also, they've got to serve their sentence, and they can only make an application 15 years after that. And as your police officer said earlier on in the show...
If they were a minor, it's 8 years after that.
If they're a minor, yes, absolutely right, if they're a juvenile. But 15 years for an adult. Yeah, you're absolutely right. 15 years. So it's a big, big hurdle. And also, the victim is consulted as well. The police have to look at the circumstances of the offence. So if there is an element of risk, it's not going to happen.
So you think there are stringent enough checks involved in this system to mean that they should have the chance to be able to do this?
Yes, everyone is entitled to redemption.
The most important factor here is the safety of children.
Yes.
We're talking about crimes against children, sexual abuse against children. And that has such a deeply traumatising effect that that child will have to live the rest of their life with the consequences of the abuse that was done to them. Not just that child, but that child's family. This is intergenerational trauma.
And they would be consulted as well.
A lot of these people that perpetrate these crimes, they're driven by compulsion. And they can't
those
change.
people will
That's
not.
What people argue.
Those people will not be dealt with. They will not get off the register.
But 3 did.
No, but you don't know, Kate, because look, I'll give you an example. Just say there is an incestuous relationship within a family. They know nothing about what really happens in the real world. Both are traumatised. Are you telling me, after a sentence has been served, and it probably won't be a sentence, be a different way of disposal, that after leading a good life, that the child who committed this should be monitored for the rest of their life if they prove they're good and decent people? Of course not. Are the people who...
Why shouldn't they be monitored?
Because they have proved to the police, that they are no longer a threat. This is not about punishment. This is about protecting children.
They are no longer a risk to children. At the end of the day, if you've committed a serious crime against a child, you've been tried, you've been found guilty, you've been placed on the register is there for protection, both of the offender, but also the children. That serves as a boundary. That person has to report once a year to their local police force to give them...
Well, it has to be more than that.
Well, it doesn't matter. It's a safeguarding. It's a boundary, and it's a safeguarding that can never be let go of because of the consequences and the ramifications.
Someone has totally reformed. And, of course, the Jimmy Saviles of this world, the people who go around as sexual predators on children, they will not be considered for this.
And the point of the register was supposed to be that after release, when they're getting back to living a life, there was some kind of monitoring and control because of these particular sorts of crimes. And the fact that people can appeal, and indeed, in some cases, there's no standardisation to the process. We've seen that some have worked and some haven't in that process.
But there is a standardisation, as the officer said.
Well, it's not worked in this particular area of Scotland.
But Scotland has a totally different legal system, so let's go down that route. That would be very
This process
unwise.
is the same, though. This register process that we're
absolutely
specifically
but of
talking
course,
about.
what everyone has overlooked, and I should have mentioned, that if it's a serious offence beforehand, which the police have to look at, it's not going to occur. If there's a sexual harm prevention order, in other words, not to work with children, not to have access to the internet, all those sorts of things, that has to be removed.
I don't know that's true, Jerry, from the figures that we've got. Because there's people who've been convicted of rape and indecent assault on children that have been appealed and taken off the register. No. So that's a serious offence in most people's minds.
The sexual harm prevention order prevents all of this, what we're talking about. It really does.
But
and that has to be removed.
This does it because people who've been given an indefinite on the sexual offences register, they have been able to appeal and they've been successful.
After 15 years.
But after 15 years, but Jerry, what do you think prevented them from acting in that 15 years? If they were being so closely monitored, if they were having to report, that's a safeguarding. Who is responsible for the safeguarding once they're removed from that register?
It is the law of the land which passed through unopposed in Parliament.
Every year I have to tax and MOT my car. I have to insure it. I have to make sure that it is safe to be on the road so that it's not a harm or a danger to anybody else. I have to go through that due process. If you you have committed a serious offence against a child, then you have to be accountable. You have to show that you are no longer a threat. You have
Even
to
in
take
an incestuous relationship involving two children?
This is not about retribution, it's about safeguarding.